Ladies and gents, it's your boy Rocco Yaps, and I'm be yapping cinema. More specifically, I'm be yapping about the brand new Avatar Fire and Ash, completing the trilogy of the Avatar movies so far, and everything about it, from the plot to how it made me feel and what I think about it. So, without further ado, it's the same genre as every other one. It's action, science fiction, adventure, thriller, drama. It's got everything you really need. The budget is 400, 400 million. Crazy amount of VFX, crazy amount of stuff that goes into making these movies. So it's obviously that's going to require a fuck ton in the budget department, but it all pays off since, like every other movie so far in the trilogy, it has made over $1 billion. And this one's barely been out. I mean, the release date's right here. Came out on December 19th of 2025. It is currently, um, as of right now, making this video, it is currently the 6th of January. So I would say around a little bit more than 2 weeks. It's been out and it's already made that much. So yeah, these movies are fucking hit, which is good because the director, James Cameron, has stated that he plans on continuing making these movies until one of them flops in the box office. So far they're so good. This is a movie starring Sam Worthington, Blakes, who, you know, Zoe Zandalia. All these have been in the first three. Sigourney Weaver and Stephen Lang. They're all the recurring characters from the very first movie to the second one, and now into the third one. But this one surprisingly had a cameo, not a not a cameo, but it had a character who was played by a pretty cool actor. I kind of immediately recognized his voice, but I had to Google him. And in the process of Googling him, he said a word a certain way that instantly locked in with my mind. And I don't know his real name. I just know him as Professor Lupin, the werewolf defense against the dark arts teacher from Harry Potter in The Prisoner of Azkaban. And he comes out in this movie and it was pretty cool. So there's stuff like that where it's just like a bunch of actors and actresses, obviously since we can't really see their faces that well due to, they're obviously portraying fucking 10-foot blue alien humanoids. So, but that was really cool. Now, how does this continue on from the second one? Now, a quick rundown of the plot. It it takes no time after the events of the second one. Like the first one, when the first one ended, and then the second one started, it was letting you know like a little recap of what happened, but it was showing you that like years went by, so many years went by. Like I don't know if they age the same way as humans do as us, but you know, the oldest son was probably like 15 years old, 15, 16 years old in terms of how he looked and act by the time humans came back to Pandora after, because in the first movie they kicked them out, only a few humans got to stay and they lived normal. They kept continuing. Jake was still the tribe leader and everything was good, and he had his kids, he had family. And around like 15, 16 years went by and then humans came back. That's how the second one starts. But in this one, it starts probably no more than like a week or two, probably even less than that, after the events of the second movie. And it takes, if you haven't seen that movie, you should go definitely watch it. But the oldest son, he ends up dying at the end of the movie, of the second movie. And it opens up with them still in the water tribe and they're grieving. They're, everybody's grieving in their own way. Jake is grieving in his own way. His other son and his two daughters are grieving differently. His lady's grieving. Everybody's just trying to deal with this in their own separate way. And that grieving combined with the fact that fucking Quidditch keeps coming back, you know, at the end of the movie he was supposed to drown, but I don't know, I guess Spider felt bad or did it like he wanted to keep a clean conscience or kind of repaying back the favor because Jake's girl was gonna fucking kill Spider. She was like, "Hey, let go of my daughter, or I'm gonna fucking kill your son. You know, you guys already killed one of my sons. I don't care." And she was gonna do it, so that's why Quidditch like stopped. So I don't know if Spider was kind of paying him back and being like, "You didn't let me die, like you did. Um, let go of the girl to save my life. I'm gonna pay you back." Like whatever the case may be, he saves Quidditch from drowning and he leaves him. So Quidditch is back and he's still obviously pursuing the hunt for Jake and his family. So those two things combined makes Jake want to run again. And he goes, but also what ends up happening is that they don't want to run, but they can't keep Spider because Spider, he begins to live with the tribe, with the water tribe in them, and Spider keeps having problems with the oxygen, because he wears a mask. He's a human. He can't breathe the air, so he needs the to constantly have oxygen in his mask. And there's been times where he almost dies on accident. One of the scenes in the movie, he's dying in his sleep. Like they were all sleeping. His mask runs out, and they barely managed to find his spare, and he almost died. And then plus Jake's girl, fucking, she's racist towards humans. She hates humans. I mean, I can't blame her. You know, every time she's encountered a human's been fucking terrible, except for Jake. And even Jake himself was once somebody who lied to her, but yeah, she's just had terrible things with humans. So she's like, I don't want this kid. He's not part of the family. He's a pink skinned fucking, little devil. I don't want him here. And Jake is kind of like in the same boat, but thinking different wise as to like, oh, we can't keep him here because he's gonna die. Obviously, the kids don't like that idea. They're mad at their parents, so they decide to leave with him. So in the movie, there's these merchants that come flying in these weird, like, beautiful looking, like, butterfly, hot air balloon looking things. And they kind of mount themselves on them and they travel around Pandora, um, selling stuff or trading stuff. They bring different things from different places from Pandora and they take it around the world to tribes who have never been to the other side of the world and stuff like that. So they get to get new things or things that are rare for them and they bloom in other places. So that's what these merchants do. And Jake at first was like, hey, can you do us a favor? You guys are already going on that direction. Can you guys drop them off with our old tribe from the forest? And they agree, which Professor Lupin is the main merchant. That actor, he plays the main merchant guy. So he agrees. But then you have the situation where the kids are fucking, they're mad about it. So Jake goes, okay, how about we all go? You guys wanted to visit, you know, for a while now. We go with him. We show you that he's going to be safe, and then we all come back to the water tribe. In that journey, though, they encounter raiders, people that, purposely raid them and steal from them and whatnot. And they are known as the Ash people or the Fieri. That's what they call themselves, but they're known as the Ash people. They live in this volcanic uh, ash place and they kind of raid them. And as they're raiding them, shit's going down. It's a good action scene, wonderful from both parents. But Spider loses his spare oxygen mask, and the one he has on is running low. And the kids can't get to the oxygen mask, which is in the ship, even after it burned down and crashed to the ground, because it's surrounded by these, these ash people tribe, and they're fucking crazy. Like, they're fucking super bonkers. One of the scenes that caught me off guard that I was just like, what the fuck, is they were having trouble dealing with Jake, because Jake, obviously being the good marksman marine that he is, um, he's just fucking doming them, and he's on the roof of this like weird hot air balloon thing, and he's frying them from the sky. So she's like, the leader is a chick, the one that you've seen in all the promotional things with the red and white paint on her. She looks at one of her tribe guys, and she nods at him, screams. He like breaks this. He like rips this leather bag full of liquid, which turns out to be gasoline, and she shoots him with a fucking flame arrow, and he lights on fire, and he like screams his way down to crash into Jake. Basically a fucking kamikaze. So these people are fucking no joke. These people are wild. These people are fucking bonkers. And they kind of end up winning. They take down all the merchant things, and I keep forgetting her name, so that's why I keep calling her Jake's wife. Uh, but Jake's wife, fucking, she has a one-on-one with this tribe woman, and it's fucking good. It's really good. They're flying in the air. Their dragons are fighting each other as well. But unfortunately for her, she gets shot in the shoulder by an arrow, which kind of incapacitates her, and she ends up getting knocked off her dragon and falling down to the forest. And luckily, she survives, but she's out of the fight. Jake, on the other hand, he barely survived the crashing of the ship, and him he's like trying to gather his stuff, and he's trying to find his kids, and he randomly out of nowhere, Courage and one of his guys, so it's only two people, Courage and one of his dude, pull up, and they're like, "Ha, we got you, motherfucker." But Courage, being the new Courage that he is very fond of Spider. So when Jake tells him, "Look at this mask," the other one, he has it on, and he's probably running out of air, and they're probably about to die with these like tribe guys running around trying to kill us. We don't have much time. We gotta find the kids. The soldier that's with the marine that's with Courage is like, "Fuck that. Who gives a fuck? We got the mission done. Let's take this fucking bastard." But Courage, being Courage, he's like, "No, we go get a Spider." Spider's about to die. Meanwhile, it cuts to the kids. It's Kitty, the little girl, um, the brother that's left, and Spider. So it's this four group, and Spider's tank just fucking dies out. And Kitty's so fucking scared. She's just so, you know, worried, that she just starts praying. But then she also decides to put him in the ground, connect her like her tendon things from her hair to the ground, to the roots. And then also she puts one of those little light floating things in his mouth for him to swallow. And after a bunch of praying, he wakes up and he could breathe normally. So that ends up being the new focus point of the humans. Instead of capturing Jake, Jake is still a high value target, but they go hard into finding Spider, because, like how Jake said, if they have the ability to freely be able to live on Pandora, they would be unstoppable. It's already hard to deal with humans as it is. Imagine if they didn't have to worry about breathing. If they were capable of breathing the air just like Spider, they would be a fucking menace. They would be a problem. So Quaritch decides to team up with the Ash people and kind of create his own little unit, his own division, where he's in charge of the Ash people because I'm gonna take it to you. He matches the freak energy from the leader of the Ash people, the chick. Uh, and they get their freak on, and these two fucking start banging. And he basically promises like, "Hey, I could give you all these weapons. I could teach you guys, and I could have you spread your flame across the world," as he says to her, because that's what she's all about. Oh, fire is the most purest thing. They don't believe in the goddess that the fire people and the water tribe and pretty much every Navi person believes in Pandora. They don't, because they prayed, and nothing happened, and the volcano covered in ash and killed all their crops and killed so many other families. So they kind of don't worship her anymore. They disowned her in a way. So he basically goes, and all you guys have to do is just follow my orders, which is like, hey, if we're gonna go hunt Jake, or we're gonna hunt Spider, or we're gonna fuck up this tribe in order to find one of these two, we're gonna do it, and you're gonna do it. So they team up, and he starts becoming more and more like the Ash people in the sense that he stops wearing uniform a lot more. He starts wearing a lot more war paint that they have. Uh, yeah, he's just becoming more Navi in a way, which is funny because that's how Jake was. It's just that it's taking Courage a little longer to kind of realize that he's becoming more Navi, just like how Jake was ended up becoming more Navi himself uh, in the first movie. But uh, that leads into this whole drama where Spider is the new target. He's the new main person of focus. They do test on him where they find out that he kind of has like this symbiotic parasite in him that Kitty put in him when she was doing that whole ritual praying thing. And basically, it was saying that it's using Spider to keep itself alive, but it's not harming Spider. It's not doing anything. There's no, as of right now, in the whole movie, it basically was showing that there's no difference whatsoever in terms of Spider's biology, except for the fact that he can now breathe in Pandora freely. But other than that, everything in his body is the exact same. There's no difference in him whatsoever. But if killing the killing the symbiote or trying to remove it could kill Spider, so they're both keeping each other alive. If you kill Spider, you kill the symbiote. If you kill the symbiote like thing, you kill Spider. And yeah, so that's what they kind of figured out running tests on him. Kitty still doesn't know how to explain it. And all this leads into um, the whales. The whale things that the water tribe are into are the new thing that are paying for the expansion of Pandora because of their anti-aging chemical that they produce in their brain. They have this ritual for the youngs where they're all gonna meet in one place. So the hunters, the human hunters, are like, that's perfect. We could get like 3 years worth of stuff in one day, you know. So we gotta go, and they're going hard on it. They're sending every fucking person on it. Jake at the same time needs to fight back. He gets captured. Him and Spider for a bit get captured, but they get rescued by Jake's wife. Badass fucking scene. They also get a little bit of help, especially Jake gets help from the uh the marine biologist dude who's with the whale hunters, but he's kind of like he hates how they hunt the whales, and his job is to study the whales. He saves Jake, and yeah, that's just in a crazy sequence. If I'm being vague about this movie, I really want you guys to watch it. I don't ever want my videos to be necessarily like a a way of watching the movie. I mean, especially because as you can see, it's a fucking Google slide. Like, I'm not. I'm not here to replace the movie. Like, go watch the fucking movie. It's worth the watch. They all are, you know. So, but yeah, they get rescued. They go back, and Jake finally is like, you know what? We just gotta end these motherfuckers. Like, we've already tried several times to run away, move away, and it just doesn't go well for us. We gotta fight. So he reclaims his title again as the leader, you know? And then he goes back and he finds this cave and it's full of bones and it's pitch black. And he goes basically back to get his red dragon, the giant red dragon that got him the respect of everybody in the first movie because it was like this giant untamable wild beast that only a really strong warrior and a good leader could tame and ride into battle with. And Jake was that guy. You know, he was that homie that did that. So it explained that in the second movie though that he kind of stopped being with the beast. Like he let the beast go and be free because that being with the beast makes him crave battle and violence. That it when they're together, bloodshed's gonna happen. So and he doesn't want to be that. He wanted peace, so he let go of the beast. But he's like, no, in order to protect my family, I need that guy back. And in order to get that guy back, I need my dragon back. So with that respect and shit, and with the water tribe leader, they go from tribe to tribe, and they start gathering as many fucking homies as they can. And the final battle is fucking sick, and it's pretty long, and rightfully so. And basically, with all these people combined, they still were like, we don't have enough. We don't have enough people to win this war. So they go and they try to convince the whales to fight on their side because the whales are pretty fucking tough to deal with, especially taking care of the ships on the water and stuff. Like they could do that, but they have a no fucking fighting rule. And basically, Jake's son convinces them, like, hey, look what happens when you fuckers decide not to fight and decide to be peaceful fucking Samaritans. And he shows them a whale that survived that's fucked up beyond repair and recognition. Like it's blind. It's completely missing his eyes on one side. It has chunks missing off and it has spikes embedded in it. And you know it's missing a fin and parts of its other fins that are there are missing. So it's just a bunch of random stuff showing you like this fucking whale barely survived somehow, some way, who knows how. Like you guys cannot continue to live this way of just not defending yourselves and not fighting back. And they kind of go, oh, we'll discuss about it, and then they leave. Jake and everybody that they gathered fights, and then midway through the fighting, the whales come and they help them out. So that's pretty fucking cool. But right when you think that our heroes and everybody's gonna win, fucking the Ash people, led by Courage, come and they kind of help turn the tides over, and it's fucking sick. Also, uh, Courage seems to kind of die, but at the same time, there's no death. There's nothing. His lady chick does die. The leader of the Ash people does die. A lot of Ash people die. So I don't know if that tribe is completely fucking wiped out. I don't know if they're still continuing that tribe, but a lot of them did die, and then the leader, well, she fucking died. Uh, the general lady that was the new head in charge, um, of Pandora and the city of in Pandora, she died. The main whale hunter guy died. The only one that's not dead is like the CEO corporate guy from the very first movie. That fucking weird asshole. He's still around, but Courage obviously last he was duking it out with Jake, and there's this part in the ocean that kind of is energy and it makes things float upwards. But if it's anything metal, it was destroying it. That's how the general lady actually died. Her ship, they couldn't stop the brakes, and it went into this like whirlpool of energy, and it just fucking destroyed and blew up the whole ship. But anything like nature wise or people wise, like it doesn't do anything to you. But it has these floating rocks all over the place, and that's where uh, Courage, Jake, and Spider were. Courage and Jake were fighting. Spider was trying to help out, and at the end of the day, Spider was gonna die. Courage saves him. Jake saves both of them, and then when Jake and his family, like his wife and his three kids, come, uh, so that leaves Courage at a disadvantage. You know, he's now has to face two adults, three kids, and a human. So he's like, you know what? I'm already hurt. I'm outnumbered. Fuck this, and he just jumps off this like super high up floating rock in this whirlpool of energy in the middle of the ocean. And at the bottom, like straight bottom, it's covered in fire. So it's like, does he live? Does he die? Who knows? I think he lives. We haven't seen a body. He's having a very good run in terms of like character development that I do think is it's very nice. And yeah, they just finally decide, hey, you know what? We're done running. We're done doing all this. We're gonna fight until the very last human is not with us. And Spider gets to be a part of the Navi, like the Navi and the tribe members and stuff like that. They decide that he's going to be accepted and be a part of them and whatnot. So that's a very good scene at the end. But also, Kitty in the movie calls for the goddess, and we get to see the god for a bit. We see like the side profile, and she looks basically like a Navi, but she just looks fucking massive. Like she's like Kitty isn't even is like barely the size of her pupil, of her eye, or at most she's as tall as her eyeball. But like this goddess is huge, and she was glowing like purple. But she kind of helps them in a way by sending these like weird sea creature animals to kind of deal with the people underwater. So, but yeah, that was basically the whole fucking movie. It was super cool. Some thoughts about it. Like key things for me that were good. The believable grieving from the different various people, like Jake, his wife, his daughter, his other little daughter, and the brother, which is the biggest one because he's not only a teenager, but he feels that it was his fault that his brother ended up dying because he's the one that told his brother, we gotta go back and rescue Spider. And in that rescuing of Spider, he got shot in the chest and died. And also he feels the pressure of Jake is kind of being a fucking dick to him, kind of resenting his his son, and kind of being like, oh, you're kind of the reason why my other son is dead. So I just like, I really think it was a good, believable way from everybody. And also a believable and interesting thing is the redemption, which I talked about a little bit, of Courage. How he's slowly becoming more like Jake in the sense of like he's he's becoming more Navi. Like I said, by the end of the film, he even gets in trouble by the general, who's like, "Look at you! You're not even wearing your uniform. You probably don't even know what that is, because all he was wearing was pants and then this necklace thing, and he was just covered with the the colors of the Ash people, and his rifle slinged. So it was like he looked more Navi than he does Marine or human. So, you know, and then you have that thing where he's starting to care more for people, which is Spider, to the point where, like in the second movie, he didn't let Spider die. He did give the daughter back. Um, he is trying to help Spider out any little time he gets captured. Um, and then at the end, he does stop fighting to save Spider. He was the first one to go save Spider because Spider was falling to his death, and he caught him midair. And so yeah, I would love to see some kind of like redemption of maybe he becomes like Negan from The Walking Dead, where he was once the main horrendous villain, and now he's somebody who fights alongside with you, even though he's not really accepted by everybody because of the horrendous stuff he had in the past. And I think that would be a beautiful thing to put in the fourth movie. Uh, Overall, the visuals, it's a fucking beautiful movie from Avatar 1 to 2 to 3. They're all beautiful movies. They're all wonderful to look at. They're all easily to be mesmerized by. I will say that I when I went to go watch this in theaters, it was it was an accident. I didn't see while I was purchasing the tickets, but it was in 3D. I wouldn't recommend watching this movie in 3D. I just personally don't think that the technology is still there for us to view a movie in 3D because it felt like I sacrificed the colors and the brightness and the beauty of the colors and stuff like that for the 3D effect because I would take out my glasses and it was so much more vibrant, colorful, and beautiful, but it just looked blurry because it was a 3D fucking movie. So, and then when I put on my glasses, yes, you have that 3D effect and it looks a lot clearer and it still looks beautiful and nice, but the colors weren't the same. So, that's just a little side note. Go watch this movie regularly. Don't do 3D. But it is beautiful just like the other two movies. Nice flow, the storytelling as well, and nice action. Uh, I think it's a good idea to continue making these movies around the 3 hour mark. I think, especially with the world building and the flow that they have, the natural flow, it's just better suitable if you make these movies consistently at that 3 hour at the 3 hour range. You know, more interesting world building and lore. You know, we get a lot more of that. We get more world building, more lore about certain stuff. Like we get introduced to the merchants who they float around like they're a tribe, but their tribe is traveling all over Pandora, trading with different tribes from around the world on these weird animals and hot air balloons. And that's what they do. And then also we got more lore on the whales and that they have this ritual for the young kids every once in a while where they all meet. They have meetings and stuff like that. So it was, and then the Ash people and how there's people in the Navi in Pandora. There's Navi tribes. At least so far we've only seen one, but there is implying that there's Navi tribe that don't worship the same god because everybody so far worships the same goddess except for this group of Ash people. So, you know, and then it also presents the idea that there could be Navi tribes willing to work with the humans in order to get rid of of other tribes and claim more land for their own tribe and expand themselves. You know, the Ash people didn't necessarily do that, but they did kind of imply that that's the reason why she joined Courage, because Courage told her like, I will help you spread your flame across Pandora if you and your tribe help me first. You know, so uh they could do that stuff that I do enjoy. Now, for the future, Avatar 4, like I said, James Cameron has stated as long as one of these movies doesn't flop in the box office, I'm continuing to make that. I don't know if he was joking or not, but it seems like they're not stopping. It seems like Avatar 4 is already kind of in the works. Uh, Things I want to see in the fourth movie, a little bit more into what exactly is Kiri, because Kiri is born from Sigourney Weaver's character. So Sigourney Weaver is a human in the movies, and then she turns at the end of the Avatar 1 movie. She they transfer her consciousness, basically her soul and everything that she is, into the Avatar body. So she's permanently in the Avatar body. She's a Navi. And then in the second one, it's stated that she randomly turned into a coma that she still hasn't woken up from. But in that coma, she was also pregnant and gave birth to Kitty. Now, what makes it even stranger is that Kitty doesn't have a father. That they did a test on her, and Kitty is not. Basically, she's a fucking. Basically, it's the same situation as the Virgin Mary. She was a virgin. She got pregnant and gave birth to Jesus. Sigourney Weaver's character got pregnant and gave birth to Kitty. And now Kitty has all these fucking powers. Kitty has this connection to the goddess. Like I said, she even said sorry to the goddess. She was like, I was praying, but you weren't listening, so I took action in helping out Spider. Because she was praying for the goddess to help Spider, but then she's the one that decided to connect to the roots. The roots connect to him, and then implant that thing into his mouth, which caused Spider to now be able to breathe normally without a mask. So, exactly what is Kitty? What's her purpose? What is she like supposed to be the next godlike being? Or is she supposed to be the godlike being in Pandora? Like, is she the avatar, quote unquote, for this goddess? I don't know. I would like to see that. What exactly is going to happen with Spider? Uh, at the end of the movie, he did get accepted into the tribe. He's viewed as a Navi, even though he's still human. But yeah, I would like to see what's next for him. Does he get his own, you know, avatar, where they could transfer his mind into the avatar and he could become an actual Navi, like he's always dreamt of and is used to being. Uh, or will his weird thing continue to go and he becomes Navi? Like, does he slowly start transitioning from human to Navi? Like, because the parasite symbiosis in him, they said in the movie that it changed him at a biological and molecular level to be able to breathe the air. So my guess is that what if it keeps evolving and it keeps changing his molecular structure and his biological um, cells to where he slowly starts becoming a Navi. So that'd be pretty cool in my opinion. Um, who would be the villain? Because like I said, Quaritch could come back, but I feel like it would be too repetitive to have him again. I feel like you could have him at most for the first half of the movie before he starts switching into being a good guy. Because I feel like we're just in that position. There's no general, there's no one in charge now. The only person that's of high authority is the CEO guy. And it's like, what now, Quaritch? Your girlfriend is dead. Everything went to shit. The Navi could probably take over the small city because it got fucked up in rescuing Spider and Jake. It did get fucked up, and then most of their military and big, like, ships and stuff and personnel got killed in the final battle. So it's just, the city is not in a strong position. So it's like, what do you do now? And like I said, you could introduce the idea of other tribes being like, we want to expand our dominance in our tribe into Pandora. So we're gonna team up with the humans in order to do that. That could be a thing. But who knows? Finding out if Corey survived, and if he returns, will he be a good guy? I think he will. I think we're gonna see something like, funny enough, same name, Avatar, but the Last Airbender, where we have Zuko, who's the Avatar hunter, and he's a villain, and then he turns out to have a beautiful redemption and becomes a good guy. I want to see something. I think we're gonna see something similar, and I don't mind. I would actually like something similar for Courage. And the last thing is introducing more Navi tribes and world building stuff. Like I said, making these 3-hour movies is good because you get the flow of the story. You get stuff that lead perfectly into other things. And you have these nice sequences that give you stuff, but also you get a lot of world building in terms of you're expanding more this world of Pandora to us who don't know nothing about Pandora. All we know is from what the movies are showing. Like, it would have never crossed our minds that there's water tribes, that they have a whole different fucking society. to the point where biologically they're even different from the Navis in the forest, where their skin is a lot more turquoise, their tail's a lot more thicker because it's used for the purpose of helping them swim. They swim a lot faster, not only because of the tail, but naturally. Their forearms are thick and look like giant fins because they use it and it helps them swim a lot more comfortably and faster. They can hold their breaths a lot naturally longer than the forest people can. Stuff like that. It's stuff like that is so cool to experience and get to see, because we could speculate, but you show us and be like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. You know, what if there's like swamp people and they have different stuff? So that's what I mean by world building. That's what I mean by more Navi tribes and stuff like that. I would love to get to see more of that. But with that being said, uh, your boys yapped long enough. Thank you for clicking in this video. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch. Subscribe if you're new or you haven't. If you like my videos,